Here with Mark from Mirror Coffee in Washington. Is it Bellingham, right? Bellingham, Washington.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, and I know Mark quite a few years now. I talked to Mark about it's been 3 years. Okay, it's been quite some time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
hold on a second. Hold, hold on a second. Okay, good. So I got my monitor set up here. So if you have any questions or comment, I can see your comments. Okay. By the way, Mark, the great thing about the YouTube live together, they uploaded as a high definition 1080p.
Oh, no.
Okay. So I mean, that's a funny thing because my regular live streaming is only 720. Okay. It's terrible. But whatever reason, what YouTube set up, whenever you join live streaming, they actually give you a better
Oh,
quality. Okay.
really? Okay,
So
that's
what I
kind of weird.
usually do is after live streaming, and I chop it up. Okay. Some
Yeah,
content I chop it up on the my regular edited portion. So
yeah,
anyway, again, so Mark, how long you been in roasting business?
yeah. So, I mean, we've been roasting for I think 4.5 years ago. We started the
That's
roasting,
right.
and then I roasted before that
Hmm.
at one coffee company, and roasted before that at another coffee company. Of course, not for too long. There's a little bit here and there
Hmm.
for the others, but yeah. So four and a half, about 4.5 years with Mirror.
And this, how's the sourcing is being sourced your coffee? It's been tough, or it's been any kind of challenges with the sourcing your coffee lately, or all the inflation and stuff.
So honestly, we haven't noticed too many challenges with sourcing coffee
Okay.
with inflation. I mean, of course, it is a little more expensive.
Yep.
That makes sense. Shipping is a little more expensive.
Yep.
Uh, let's see. Yeah, but also we've always, but especially recently,
Hmm.
we're always buying very high quality coffees,
Yep.
and those high quality coffees usually cost a little bit more. So for I don't know, for us, it felt like a small bump. Of course, things are getting more expensive. I think things are getting more expensive on all the other stuff, like packaging, shipping,
Hmm.
all that stuff. Where the green coffee has felt like, okay, we've always been paying a premium for our
Hmm.
coffees, and we still continue to do so. And the differences are um, not a world of a difference, but it's definitely there though. So yeah.
Okay, so whenever do you do any kind of like brew guide for your customers?
So that's something that we've been thinking about doing more.
Okay.
And we did a brew guide for our geisha that we released uh,
Okay.
not too long ago, and so we did a brew guide for that, but not for any of the other coffees. But
I mean, because it can be challenged, right? Because not everybody use the same grinder, same water. So,
yes,
so
yeah. So there are some challenges with that, like a brew guide with no standardized grind setting. It's
that's
nice with
right.
something like a comandante, which you
Yep.
know 10 clicks is 10 clicks for everyone. There's no
Yes.
um then also realizing like, hey, water makes a difference, so everybody
Yep.
has same water. Everybody needs to use, just have very pretty much the same
I know.
thing. um and then even then, uh yeah, even then, it's my approach to brewing is kind of very simple for most of
Okay.
my, because for me, I'm a big fan of like, choose one recipe,
Yep.
let that recipe just work for coffees, and then if
Okay.
the exception, like say a coffee is clogging and is stalling, then you just make a little bit of adjustments to fix that issue. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So I feel like if I were to make a brew guide, which we might in the future, but if I were to make a brew guide for each coffee, how I brew most of our coffees are pretty similar,
Okay.
with the exception of a few. Like this coffee I'm about to brew,
Hmm.
it's like a 3 minute, 40 second, three
Okay.
minute, 5 second brew time when most of the time I'm brewing at 3 minutes brew time.
Okay.
So much longer. But outside of that, most coffees sit in kind of the same ballpark range. So
So, what is your choice of your brewer? V60 or flat bottom, cone shape? Do you have your favorites?
that's yeah, that's a good question. So I I picked up an Oria V3
Okay.
about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
That was the first time I tried a flat bottom that I really
Okay.
enjoyed.
Okay.
It's
So,
still
Marcus, talk about this one. Okay.
yes. So it still had some interesting um it still had some like it still brings out some clarity and
Mm-hmm.
some of the brighter stuff, which I think flat bottoms like the Kalita,
Mm-hmm.
they have a more of a rounder flavor. Like it's more sweeter, rounder, um,
Okay.
a little cloudy, in my opinion. Um, so the Oreo was a nice, pleasant surprise. I've been brewing with that since I bought it, and
Mm-hmm.
I've stopped brewing with it. I do occasionally bring out the V60. Like
Okay.
the last week, I've been brewing more V60. Um, so yeah, and then sometimes I'll very rarely uh, pull out the Aeropress, which
Aeropress?
the Aeropress I'm a big fan of because um, yeah, I've competed with Aeropress a few times and have found a recipe that
Mm-hmm.
works really, really well for me. Um, yeah, so
So, what do you think about the latest Aeropress, the premium one?
oh man, uh, uh, I would like to get one, but
Okay.
I think it's a little crazy.
Okay.
Like the price point, I don't know. I don't know. It's like the price point seems crazy for something that you just plunge. And I know that the the brew quality from the Airpress isn't astronomical. Isn't
Okay.
like I would choose a filtered coffee, a pour over coffee over
Okay.
an. But then you're paying like I don't know, what is it cost? They cost like $150 or $200.
150, and plus you want to buy the stand. If you want to complete the set, stand is about another $100 or so. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you're looking at 250 setup.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
the but I will say though the it's very interesting to see like
okay.
really durable materials used on it, which I
Hmm.
think is really cool. Like the metal pieces and the glass and I don't know. It looks very interesting though.
You know what? So I did talk with people from Aeropress, Fernando. Okay,
Okay.
and he showed me on one of my live streaming. I mean, I can see why to justify the price because the quality was there, hand blown, handmade.
Right.
It's heavy duty, it's beautifully made. It's more like showpiece, right? It's more like showpiece for the house instead of you're putting, AeroPress to your closet somewhere, pantry. You can probably, display on your kitchen. So I can see that the aspects of it. But again, back to your point about brewing coffee. I mean, they're same as any other AeroPress. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
What's
but
who
go ahead.
tell me you just showed me right before the live. You just showed me all your
Hmm.
brewers and your 1,000 grinders that you have. Um tell me out of all the brewers grinders that you've used, all the different brew methods, what do you naturally what's your go-to, especially when you
Okay.
can literally brew with anything? What's your
Okay.
what yeah, tell me.
I mean, for my go-to brew, because I used to love Aeropress, not the Aeropress, the Oria V3. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm starting to come around with V60. Okay, starting to
Okay.
come around, kind of like full circle, right? Full circle. Start with the V60. You're gonna explode with the flat bottom. We have V Oria as well, and then after that you're gonna go with the April dripper. Okay, we got origami. Okay, and then also we have this. If you want to go really fancy, go with the like MK dripper. I love MK dripper.
Yes.
Okay, they're beautifully made. So, but again, it does the same thing, right? Just brew your coffee for you. That's it. Okay. So I think I mean, ultimately something easy. I mean, V60 is the easiest brewing method. Okay, I don't have to think too much. And with Orea, the reason why I really like the V60 because you have a lot of options for the comes to paper as well. They makes all different types of paper with flat bottom. You only have two options. Okay, we got the Clita, like 185 or 155, or Silverest makes this very fast, very fancy paper. I mean, they're like $10 for like 100 counts.
Yeah.
Silverest paper, you have to pay triple the price. Okay.
Yeah.
So convenience, I think I prefer the V60 over any other brewer. And then, and again, I mean, I talk about that with my viewers the other day. I mean, if you want to just brew your coffee every morning, just stick with the V60, any other grinder. Okay,
Honestly,
that's fine.
you know, I'm gonna interrupt you for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's not that's not a surprise for me because I feel like a lot of people I feel like almost everyone, I mean, that comes to mind for me.
Hmm.
The case for everyone, will wander off to some brewers for a
Yep.
little bit, and then you come back to V60, and
Yeah.
then you're like, this was here this whole time. It
Hmm.
tastes amazing, and there's it's hard to find anything wrong with it, really. You know what I mean? Like, it's just good. That's it.
It's good. Yep. It's overall is great. But the other stuff is for entertainment. It's fun.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Something I think that's most people needs to realize that, because so one of I talked to coffee professional, my buddy Jay, shout out to Jay. Jay's been in coffee business since 90s,
Wow.
late 90s. And he, used to be the world barista champion. He's a head judge as well. And then he stopped doing it about 3 or 4 years ago. But whenever I talk to him, he doesn't care less about brewer. Okay, he just uses his V60.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
doesn't care about the grinders, and he just want to just brew coffee. That's it. I think I think he's more like old school. Okay, old school people that hey, I just want the good coffee. I want the experience. Someone wants to connect with me, right? If you talk to barista, how much that person knows about coffee. Okay. And
I agree. I had a my first coffee
mhm,
job at a roastery. I was under this guy named Shay, who
mhm.
he was I think a U.S. Barista
Okay.
championship judge,
Okay. Yep.
and did a lot of work in Europe in coffee. Worked
Hmm.
for Italy's for a while. Um, he's so like Q grader, like
Hmm.
has all the specifications that one could think about in the coffee
Hmm.
world. But then he would like the grinders weren't a thing that he talked about. Like the brewers wasn't a thing. He just brewed on his like Kalita
Yep.
way.
Yep.
It was like, just give me the coffee.
Yep.
Like I knew it always surprised me, especially back then when I was because those were my early days in coffee. And I was like the guy's so smart and so
Hmm.
like he could really get nerdy about all these things and
Oh
he
yeah.
just could care less. And then I think now that I think that was maybe 8 years ago for
Okay.
me, maybe nine. But now I look now 9 years later, I'm like, I'm starting to become a little old school like that. Um, yeah, it's
But
just an interesting progression.
But I mean that's the funny thing because since I have the luxury to play with the all kinds toys, you know,
Yes, yeah,
and that I seen it, I play with it, and because I'm looking for right now, I'm looking for the taste, right?
yes,
You know, because the luxury to having a different grinders or different burrs. What about looking at the coffee? You know what? I really want to bring it out peach, okay, or I want to bring it out cherry which
yeah.
combination bring out the best.
Hmm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like becoming like, kind of like obsession, right? It's becoming more hobby. Okay. So I think that's the fine line difference between coffee hobbyist versus, coffee drinkers, right?
Yes.
I mean, as a coffee drinkers, yeah, I just want to just give me the coffee. I'm just start my day. Okay. I mean, coffee hobbyists, like, people watching right now. I mean, they are, you guys are the coffee hobbyists. So now we are talking about, okay, what can we do to bring out the best in that cup?
Yes.
And that become a coffee rabbit hole. Okay. It never ends. So I
Yeah.
think that's the where this, I feel like a lot of coffee companies, the manufacturer, uh, I don't want to say manipulate it, but they use that as the gateway to you know kind of explore the
Yeah.
this obsession. Okay, let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. But on the other hand, also, I think if it wasn't for people trying to brew the best coffee and find the best combination of burrs and
Yeah.
brewer, I think that's helped, make gear more affordable at home. Like never before did we were we able to pay, $300-400 for a
Hmm.
grinder and
I
have it
know. Yep, you're
really
right.
good. Like
Yep.
that is a very incredible thing. And I think it's the people are to blame for it because they started asking for it, and then
Hmm.
companies they'll make it. They'll make what people are asking for, So it's been a big help to making coffee taste good at home without buying a $3,000 grinder.
I mean, because what, even like 5, 6, 7 years ago, God, what was the entry level grinder? What, Mazer Mini, right?
Yeah,
We got
yeah,
the Eureka Mignon at the time as well. They're starting around like $500 or $600,
yeah.
and then
Or
Maser was
or
like 6 or 7.
or you were just stuck with, Barazza was
Sure, the
a,
Barrio.
yeah, the Vario, the Forte, the Sete.
Yep,
Like
that's right.
they weren't phenomenal grinders, but they were kind of the best you know, at the time, like for home use. It was what
Yep.
everybody just did. So, um, so what's tell me what's other than the brewer you're going back to V60, what's the grinder that your grinder of choice right now?
Comes to espresso right now is a Lagoon 01. Okay, that's the 102 millimeter the blind birds. Maser,
Wow.
the Meissen blind birds. So that's my espresso grinder.
Wow.
And since I have a EK43 here, it comes to filter coffee. I go with the EK43.
Okay.
That one has SSPs in it,
Nice.
and so that's I mean that's great combo for espresso and filter. Okay, and
Nice.
it comes to entry level. If you don't want to spend too much money, obviously we have a Fella Old. Gen 2 is really nice as well. But if you want to go with a bang for the buck, if you don't mind spending more extra, Timer 078 is fantastic. So they have a lot of interesting grinders out there. Okay. But again, I mean, but fellow O Gen 2 does great job. Okay, it makes amazing coffee. But
Yeah.
the difference between O versus EK43 just the refinement, right? If just make a little better, okay, a little more tastier based on your skill sets. Okay, if everything is equal, okay, Gen 2 versus EK, obviously EK bring out more flavor. Okay,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
everything's equal.
I think I totally agree with you. I think I would go as far as saying, if you can't make your a fellow O Gen 2 coffee taste good, then you're probably not good enough
Yep,
for an EK.
sure,
But if you can make your fellow O Gen 2 coffee taste good, but you want that extra 5, 10
sure,
percent better, then 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 EK might be, the choice, or a better grinder might be the choice.
sure.
But a lot of
But
times it's your skill
yeah.
level that's actually more hurting you than your machine.
Oh, sure. Because I mean, you can actually, if you have knowledge about water, right? I mean, do you cover a lot of water whenever you talk to your brother about, how can I bring out the best in your coffee whenever you're roasting? You guys talk about the water chemistry much or?
Oh, the last 2 3 weeks, that's
Okay.
been a big topic for us.
Okay,
I'm
good.
really, really digging into it a lot. Man, see, this brew is probably not going to taste good. I
Okay.
need to done a better job. But 1 second here, 1 second.
Yeah.
Yeah, the it's been a big question
Hmm.
topic that we've been talking about lately because you know um, water, depending on the water that you use,
Hmm.
it's going to change the way your coffee tastes.
Yep.
Obviously, from a roaster perspective, though, depending on the water you use, you're going to be changing certain things in the roast to
Hmm.
make it fit that water. So
Okay.
it's almost like, do you choose a water first to roast according to, or do you roast just with any water and then you adjust the roast? If that makes
Ah, interesting.
kind of
Yes.
like
Yep.
a chicken before the egg thing,
That's right.
because something that I'm hearing, like a lot of people who are drinking ultralight
Hmm.
like roasts, um, they have a specific water that tastes best with those ultralight roasted roasts. However, this might be controversial, but if you take those ultralight roasts and use them with a subpar water, like an
Okay.
a water, the coffee is not going to taste that good.
Yep.
And so it's kind of interesting for us where we're like, okay, should we then change how the water that we use and then change the roast to fit the water, or do we just roast according to whatever water that we have? We just choose one and then just go with it and then manipulate the roasts for that. So it's a very interesting and um yeah, it's been something we've been talking about the last like 3 weeks so much.
I know,
uh
which means you have to have some kind of standard, right? I mean,
yeah,
so I feel like that's the where, let's say, like third wave comes in, or perfect water, or this water company, right? Even like Lotus water from Lance,
yes.
and with some kind of standard. I mean, for me lately, I've been playing with. Hold on a second here. I have a different, mineral, right? Calcium, baking soda, or magnesium. Trying to make my own water. Okay, trying to fit the best for that cup. Okay, the
Hmm.
problem with this is pain, right? Because you never know what you're gonna get at. You know what I mean? So is sometimes, what, I'm just gonna use just half pack of third wave water. Okay, because a full
Yeah,
pack is too expensive, so just go with the half pack, right?
yeah, yeah,
And the people likes half pack anyway. But
yeah. Are you using, what are you using more for every day? Are you brewing your own, are you making your own water, or are you buying a packet?
no, you know what? Because I used to buy my packets, it gets really expensive. And
Yes.
now I'm doing making my own water. I'm using the Bristol household, the water recipe called Holy Water. Okay,
Okay.
the Holy Water is pretty easy to make. Magnesium and some baking soda. So yeah, it'd be very easy. So I've
What's
been
the
using that.
what's the alkalinity of that water? Do you know?
I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. So I'm using this called half Holy Water. So I cut that in half. So yeah, I'm not quite sure, but I mean, so far it works out pretty good. No
Nice.
complaints there. And I've been using that. And so I mean, it's been good. It's been good.
Yeah.
But again, so what about you guys? What do you guys recommend for your buyers, your brewers out there?
Yeah, that's man, that's something that we've been again wrestling with. So for a while we were doing calibrating all of our coffees to perfect coffee water.
Okay,
Uh,
perfect water.
yeah, so not and just one full packet. I know some
Yes.
people uh, modulate those packets and
Hmm.
do like half packet or whatever,
Hmm.
but it's just one full packet for perfect coffee water. That usually gets the job done really well.
Okay.
Uh, However, uh, for example, like we just released a coffee this past weekend. It's the Wilder-Lasso Choroso varietal.
Okay. Okay.
Um, we went a little light on it, like lighter than we usually go on the
Okay.
coffee. And with that, I still think it tastes good with perfect coffee water.
Okay.
It's still gonna get the job done, but a third wave water packet, full packet, might of the light roast profile. So here, this is what I have right now.
Yep. Yep.
Um, what brings out like different characteristics in the coffee, which just makes it interesting.
Yep.
Uh, like I don't know, we were doing a cupping, and
Mhm.
perfect coffee water brings out more. I don't know. The coffee tastes a little bit more like melon with,
Okay.
a little bit of tropical fruit and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And then third wave water kind of makes it taste a little bit more like nectarine, yellow
Okay.
plum. I don't know. It's I'm telling you, like people might think it's crazy, but it it's the same coffee, but the way maybe my palate even picks up the flavor
Mhm.
note changes based on the water that you're using.
Sure. Oh,
There's,
definitely.
you know, so that's what I would recommend. So if you have perfect coffee water, use that. If you have third wave water, use that. Um, but perfect coffee water is kind of a good choice for our coffees. So
What about grinder? Do you guys recommend any grinders, or I mean, what do you guys usually recommend for a grinder?
yeah, we don't really have like a set recommendation.
Okay.
It's kind of hard as well because like we we use EKs,
Yep.
and it's kind of hard to recommend an EK 43 for your
Yep.
average coffee drinker. But
Uh.
honestly, though, outside of that,
Mhm.
um, ever since I got my Comandante
Yep.
X25,
Mhm.
um, I actually use my Comandante probably more over the
Okay.
last than my EK 43. And if somebody has a Comandante, it's gonna do a really, really, really
Okay.
great. So that's it. But then also I know the Comandante. Ah man, I also know the Easy. What is it? The
Easy
Easy
presso. Yep.
Espresso. Like I don't know exactly. I know they have a lot of different models, but
Yeah, I think you're thinking of it's called ZP6. Okay.
maybe the ZP6. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very
ZP6.
similar to
Yep.
Comandante. Yeah,
Yep.
and
Actually, no. Come on, that you're talking about K plus.
or is it?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
K plus is very similar to Commandant that comes to profiling because
Yes.
yeah, I think you are thinking about K plus there.
Yeah. So yeah. What I was just gonna say is like even if you have something like that, it's gonna
Mhm.
be really great.
Good.
Uh, yeah. So
You guys talk about the brew time. You recommend brew time should be like 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, or I know you and your brother talk about that on one of your podcasts. I think it's called. You said what golden time?
uh, yeah. We've been doing our last few episodes have been around
Mm,
brewing coffee at home.
yeah.
Um, yeah. I think our official recipe that we have on our YouTube channel, it's
Hmm.
the
Okay.
320 out
Okay.
with three and about 20 seconds, 3 minutes, 30
Okay.
seconds.
Okay.
Um, and so, yeah, that's kind of the base for my recipe right now. I'm brewing a lot of coffees at 18 grams in with the
Okay.
or the V60, and I'm aiming for like a 3 minute brew time.
Okay. So
But
okay,
but then
because what?
also I'm blooming for a minute and 10 seconds.
Okay. So here's interesting facts. Whenever I talk to a coffee professional,
Yeah,
you guys like to use a large dosing amounts, right? 18 to 20. Okay. And then whenever I talk to a lot of my friends, specialty coffee people, they
yeah.
use about 13 to 15 gram, maybe 16.
For pour over.
Pour over, correct. 13 to 15, maybe 16. I know that's why whenever I talk to my coffee pros, right? I mean, you
Yeah,
guys do like 19, 20, even 21, 22. So
So why are people resorting for a smaller dose? I'm curious.
because the coffees are expensive, okay,
Ah,
okay, and then one of those specialty coffee is very expensive, so you want to last longer, okay, because I mean people don't mind drinking 200 grams of extraction, right? And so
right.
if you run a coffee shops, you want to go large dose because you cannot charge $5 per cup for a little bit of coffee.
Yeah.
That's why you have to use a 20 gram. So you go with
Yes.
like 1 to 15, 1 to 16 ratio. So you're gonna get about at least 8 ounce of cup. So I mean, but here's the thing, because whenever I go up my dosing amounts, tastes different from 15 or 12 to 15 to 18 to 20 gram. I feel like has more flavor or more, more tastier. Let's put it that way. Okay.
It's more tasty to do a bigger dose, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. It's more,
Yes.
more has more in depth.
I agree, especially if you're using. I think you can get a good cup, a solid cup both. But if you're using a normal size brewer like this,
Exactly.
I know Scott Rayo talks a lot
Hmm.
about this, that your bed depth
Hmm.
actually plays a big role because it ends up.
Yep.
Lance also talks about this, that the bed acts like a filter
Yep.
for some bitter compounds,
Sure.
uh, and so if you have, if you're doing a small little 15-gram dose
Hmm.
in a big brewer, your bed is like very small, so your water is
Yep.
just barely coming through. So I think I think what you're saying, there's some truth to it, that a bigger dose might taste better, but also, you know, I also wouldn't recommend brewing, a 25, 30-gram dose and try to make two pour overs.
Yep. No.
Trying to make two cups with one pour over, I wouldn't recommend that. Like, it might be worth either getting the Aiden,
Yep.
or just, brewing two cups, taking a little bit more time. So
So what do you think about? Have you talked to your brother about this automatic brewer lately, like Aiden or X-Plum?
yes, we've talked about it a lot.
Okay.
I there's a lot of interesting weird. Yeah, the coffee industry is in a weird space where we automation is very good, but we
Yep.
also, many people don't like automation because it takes the craft away.
Yep.
Um, so there's a little bit of a tension there, but for things like the X Bloom and, let's say, the Aiden, I
Hmm.
think they're really incredible machines. I I'm actually really happy that we have brewers and machines like that coming out, because it means that every person, especially with like the Bloom X Bloom that can grind coffee
Yep.
for you, like, you don't need to do anything and you can enjoy good coffee. Like back when we were talking about choosing your brewer,
Hmm.
your grinder, and how oftentimes it's your skill level that is limiting
Yep.
your ability. This so
Okay. Hold on a second. Can you hear me, Mark?
Hello?
Go ahead. Okay. Now I'm back. Okay. Go ahead.
Did I
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Somebody just tried to call me, so it might have cut
No. No.
out.
It's all
But
right. Yeah. Happens.
is that you can get a really good cup of coffee with no work. And that's
Yep.
really nice. And it also means that, like, people who might not be in the coffee hobby but like the
Mhm.
taste of it, they can enjoy it without going down a rabbit hole, and having 20 different grinders. They can just buy a machine that does it for them. They can enjoy the coffee. And for a roaster like us, that makes us happy because I don't have to worry that, man, somebody's going to brew my coffee and it's not going to taste good.
That's right. You're right. Yep. As a consistency, right? I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
and then because right now Aiden and X Bloom is the one of those two machines I know. as a roaster, you could say, hey, you know what? If you have an Aiden, my Columbia coffee, your profile should be this, and water temperature should be this. Just program it, and you are
Yes,
done for that. You are done for that coffee. Okay.
it's dialed in pretty much.
Yep.
You just need
Exactly.
to change your grind size.
Yep. That's it. And then if you are into X Bloom, here's a profile. You want to go with. You are done. I mean, makes as a roaster a lot easier for that
Yeah.
point of view.
Yes. What do you
So
have you used
go.
the have you used the X Bloom? Do you have an X Bloom?
Yeah, I got two of those. I got X Bloom original one, and also I just got the X Bloom Studio.
And
So I think I'm gonna.
what do you think about them? And tell me, what do you think about them compared to the fellow Aiden?
Okay, there are two different machines.
Okay.
Okay, because X Bloom is like built-in grinder. Imagine you have, if you imagine a manual process into machine, right? It does everything for you: water temperature, acetation, blooming, everything. Okay, so you just like having a person, right, sitting. With the Aiden, is a lot more contained. Okay, and you can change the blooming temperature amounts, but there's no hesitation. But everything is all contained in this inside. So temperature stability is amazing, right? You don't lose temperature. So
Yeah.
but again, $350 versus what? Aiden X Bloom is like 499, I think. 399 or 499. Okay. So
Yeah.
slightly cheaper. So I guess it's all about what you want at this point. So you have options. Okay, you have options now. So
What's the one you prefer between those two?
right now I have not unboxed Studio yet. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's the one coming up hopefully this week. I'm gonna unbox that, and then I'm gonna be playing with it and see what happens. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I cannot wait compare
Yeah.
two different setup there. So by the way, so since you are the forefront of coffee, I mean, do you see any kind of trend coming up 2025? I mean, what do you see that something exciting or something disturbing? Do you see anything like that? Any kind of
Um.
trend?
Oh man, that's a good question. For 2025, it might be a little too early
Hmm.
to say, but um actually I would say like the what we just talked about, like the
Hmm.
automation.
Hmm.
I think uh I think the rise of automated machines
Okay.
plus maybe I mean coffee is a little as an industry is a little behind on
Hmm.
technology. So
Yep.
maybe not AI, but kind of going in that direction. Um I think we're gonna see a lot more automation.
Okay.
Like we're seeing like what's the I just saw a video on the it's called the Meraki or
Yeah, Morocco. Yep.
yes. That's like to have that in a home machine is very impressive.
Okay.
It's
So.
it's like two scales. It's volumetric
Mhm.
dose like it has like an automated aspect to it that is very impressive. I don't know how well it performs. I don't know if it's even a great I don't know anything, but just looking at it from that perspective, it's impressive to see a machine pull that off, and it's meant to go not to the cafe. It's actually meant to go to people's homes.
Yep.
Like
People saw.
yeah,
Correct.
and so machines like that plus like the X Bloom, the Aiden, like they are pushing technology and pairing that with machines and brewing coffee at home. And I can see how that's just gonna get it's just gonna grow more and more. Like
Oh,
yeah,
so
anyways.
I've been using Meraki for last 3 months at home.
Oh
Okay.
really?
So
Okay,
here's the deal.
you need to tell me,
Okay.
everything. I want to know.
My family loves it. Okay. My wife uses it. My boys uses it. they told me that this machine is easier than my Browber machines. Okay,
Wow.
because you just press the button, give you 18-gram dose out, right? And then
Yeah.
you press the buttons for brew. You're gonna set the rate. You're gonna set the amounts. I want to get 40-gram out, 45-gram, 50-gram out. Automatically stop. Okay, steaming as well. So you just need a little bit of training. You're gonna make some amazing coffee. Having said that, the Meraki is a Kickstarter, so we don't know the longevity of it.
Right.
Okay, so if a longevity is not an issue, but they're $1,800 machine. The Kickstarter is over, so now everybody has to pay $1,800, 1790, so $1,800 machine. Kickstarter price was 1,200, so $1,200 is a lot easier to swallow than
Yeah.
18.
Yes.
So, but I mean, like you say, it makes coffee experience easier. But I mean, I don't know how many people are out there, right? How many people are out there? They are, you know what? I want to make good coffee, so I'm going to spend $2,000 on coffee machines.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and I feel like that's the gap is, large, right? So we have a Bravo Barista Express for $600. Makes great coffee. But if you want something easier, more somewhat automated, I mean, again, I love Meraki as what it is. That's a great machine. But again, the price is gonna be, you can justify the price. Let's put it that, even $2,000. Okay, but as long as the quality is there, I think it's gonna be great for someone's house. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. It's um. Yeah. I think with I think we're gonna get used to more automation in the future. But it is interesting to think like if somebody who wants to pay for a machine for $2,000 who loves coffee,
Mhm.
um do they want the automation is also a
Now,
question.
I don't think so, right, Mark? I mean,
I
if I
Yeah.
want to pay 2 grand, I want to be involved. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
I want to have an option for my grinder. Okay, not just the built-in.
Yes.
So I mean, I want that freedom. So yeah,
Yeah.
but
I
again, but
Go for it. Go for it.
the flip side is people are buying the Bravo Oracle Jet, Bravo Oracle Touch. They're like $2,200 coffee machines.
Yes.
I think Meraki can go after those clients, get the
Yes.
market segment there. So there's a small piece for that. There's small opportunity to people can, but as you know, comes to marketing, is all about repetition. If you see more enough on $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 coffee machines, you're going to get slowly in your brain say, you know what, it's not that expensive anymore.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's kind of very manipulated, but it's all about repetition. Okay, I mean isn't it funny, right? Because when Mark, do you remember when you start making coffee, spending $1,000 on grinder? It's not that's not a thing. Okay,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not a thing. Okay, because at the time you most likely you have blade grinder. Okay, start with. I thought that was great, freshly roast coffee for
Yeah.
$10. But social media
Yes.
fuel that, right? If you see people like me out there showing up, $3,500 grinder every single day, $3,000 grinder every single day, people are going to get accustomed to it. Okay. And sooner or later, you know what? I think I got extra money now. Okay. Now I can entertain the idea of buying that $3,000 or $1,000 grinder. Yeah, again, I mean, marketing did, people did, fellow did amazing job comes to marketing wise. Okay. I have to give them a big kudos. They're selling kettles here, fellow kettles for $150. Just a kettle,
Yeah.
just boiling water. Okay. Beautiful marketing, beautiful products. You just get it out there up front. Yeah. People get accustomed to it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
I'm
think for it's a very interesting conversation to have, because if this is like a hobby for you and a passion for you, maybe you don't think about it very much. You know,
exactly. Yep. You don't think
it's
about
kind
it.
it's kind of like if you're a car person,
Hmm.
you're gonna be investing so much money into your car
Oh
and
yeah.
buying every exhaust, every little lip and every little
Sure.
mod that you can add into your car. You're gonna be doing that. Like, same with, if you're playing pickleball or if you're
Sure.
into mountain biking. So this is, I mean, it's very similar. So I guess maybe for those people, it may not be that big of a deal that things are pricing more because it's their hobby, it's what they're into. I mean, but yeah, but on the other hand, I think you bring up some valid points that a lot of this has to do with marketing as much as we don't want to talk about it. Like yeah, that like the fellow, I love fellow, and they do a really good job not only
Hmm.
with their products but also with their marketing and their
Oh yeah.
branding.
Yep.
But they released the EKG Stag, what is it, the
Hmm.
Studio or something?
Yep. Studio.
Costs more, and it still heats water.
That's it. Still
You
hits
guys,
water, right?
like, there's some bonus features, like it can, I don't know, timed heating,
Hmm.
but it's like, but is it is it necessary though? Like, I don't know. It's Yeah, it's an
But
interesting conversation. So,
okay. So I have it's called fellow. It's called tally scale.
hmm
Okay. The one of a future is a brew guide. Okay. They tell you you're gonna set the ratio. You're
yeah,
gonna set how many grams of coffee. Automatically measures it and let you know how many grams of water you're gonna add it to it. Nice feature. Okay. But you could do that with any other scale by doing the quick math. Okay. But I mean something about this scale is really nice to look at. Okay. Is just easy to work. Okay. But again, $180, 160 or 180. You could do the exact same thing with. I have this scale here from Amazon. So this is my first scale. Cost me $15. Do the exactly the same thing. But again, I mean, like you say, is a hobbyist versus regular coffee drinker, right? I mean,
yes,
that's why we need to separate that. People watching right now, if you're a coffee hobbyist, you understand all this stuff here. Okay,
yes,
all this stuff. But if you're the person that, what, I just want a coffee in the morning, why should I bother with different grinders? Okay, I mean that's okay. I mean
yeah,
you got just simply look away. Okay, unless this is an interesting conversation. But yeah, I mean you're gonna have some fun with it. But yeah, I mean just like Mark, I know you guys are into camera, right?
yes, yes,
I mean think about the lenses.
yeah,
Okay, $2,000-$3,000 is insane.
hmm
Sometimes I don't understand you guys are spending that kind of money.
yeah,
Spending camera. But once you are in that space, you know what? I mean, you need it, right? You need it for these shots. You need it for that. You can
of
start justify it.
yes, yeah.
So,
It's yeah, it's crazy when you. I mean, same thing with lenses. When you're like looking at, you're talking about the granular things, like
hmm,
how the lens focuses and how, like, the background looks, that it's a
yep,
little softer than other lenses. It's
hmm,
so it's so small where, any normal person watching probably would not
yep,
tell the difference.
sure. But
But
I know you guys can.
yeah, yeah, and that's why we're gonna spend, you
Yep.
know five more $1,000 on one lens.
I mean, that's exactly, you can equate that with the coffee grinders, right?
Hmm
You want a little bit of the extraction, spending $300 versus $3,000 grinder because you
Yeah.
want that little bit more extra. Okay.
Yes.
Just because you can. Okay. Just because you can. And so, by the way, if you're just joining us, I'm talking to Mark from Mirror Coffee. And then, so you do. How often you post your podcast on your YouTube channel?
So pretty much every week,
Every
um,
weekly basis.
every
Okay.
every Saturday, every Sunday morning. We
Okay.
sometimes miss weeks where, we're running a business. We
Okay.
have a lot of other things to do, but where we try to stay consistently every weekend. There's a 30-40 minute episode
Yep.
that drops, and we talk about all things,
Mm,
brewing coffee,
mm,
roasting, running a coffee business. Yeah, just kind of all things coffee. Sometimes we talk about gear just like this.
yep.
So,
Oh, by the way, so okay, I know you've been doing roasting business for some time now. If it's someone out there they're inspired by you guys, you know what? I want to start a roasting business. What do you recommend? Is that first, but is that profitable?
um, I think it's the easiest to start out of all the coffee businesses
Okay.
because you can buy a small little machine
Mm-hmm.
like a bullet, and
Yep.
you can start roasting coffee and selling it to your friends and family. Like,
That's
it's
right.
very easy. Um, Now, because it's so easy and simple, uh, everybody starts can start a roasting company. And
Yep.
now you see there's no shortages of
Hmm.
roasting companies. Everybody has a roasting company, which then causes, other challenges and difficulties of how do
Hmm.
you stand out,
Yep.
um, what your style of roast specifically is, how do you reach and communicate to people. So
Hmm.
it becomes a little more complicated. But yeah, starting a roasting company is probably the lowest cost, the most easiest upfront right away.
But I mean that's true because I do have a small roaster right now at my
Yeah,
next room. You know, I
yeah,
roast it. I give it to my friends and families.
yeah,
They think that they are the greatest coffee. Okay,
yeah,
but I think they are terrible because I mean here's the thing about the roasting business. Okay, roasting. You know what? I mean, if you're a good roaster, I mean, personally, leave it to professional because I know you guys are eat and breathe for years at a time, and the people like newbies. You're gonna spend a couple $1,000s on coffee roaster and start roasting. Why my coffee is not as good as Mark's coffee? Okay, because it's different. Okay, I mean that's the different machines and different techniques and skills. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean unless you're gonna become a true hobby, spend hours on it. I don't know.
Yes.
I guess I'd rather save that money and just buy coffee from you instead.
I'm glad you're saying that because if you say it, it sounds better than when I say it.
Oh,
because
really?
because if I say it, then people think, oh, I'm just trying to sell my coffee, or I'm
No,
trying to,
no.
but the reality is I would 100% agree with you that if you want good coffee and if this is not a hobby for you, or you're not just really interested
Yep.
yourself in roasting, I'd say just don't do it. Like, find roasters who have gone through the trouble of
Yep.
sourcing, roasting, dialing in, managing all the challenges
Mhm.
of running a roasting company, and let them do what they do best. And you get
Yep.
to
That's
just
it.
enjoy.
Yep.
Like, you just get
Enjoy.
to enjoy the good stuff without
That's
any
all.
of the pain and the hustle and, like, just the hassle of it. So I agree with you. I
Yeah,
agree.
because roasters, you guys are source better than regular people. Because for regular people, I mean, what's are my options? Well, Sweet Maria is one of them. You can buy small batch from Sweet Maria. I mean, Amazon green beans are not as good. So
Mm,
you have your options are pretty slim. Okay, I'm talking about high quality coffee beans. High quality coffee beans already gone. Okay, by the big roasters anyway.
yes, yes. I agree
S-
that that's a very good point. I think, Sweet Maria's has a really solid selection.
mhm.
So I'm
Yep.
not going to say it's bad, but I will say though, if you're looking for some very very heavy hitter
Yep.
coffee, even sometimes we get have a challenge of getting our hands on it because it's like once a few people find out about it and they find good green, they just want to buy it all and they
Yep.
want
I
to
am.
take it.
Yep.
And so, unless you have kind of relationships,
Yep.
connections, unless you're, willing to pay ahead of time, or,
Hmm.
like there's small little tips and tricks that you can use
Mm.
to kind of get in. And um and yeah, those are the very good tasty coffees that a lot of people talk about. The Basha Bakel,
Yeah. Yeah.
the Wilder Lassos, which is,
Yeah.
we've been buying some coffee from him, like really stunning coffees that oftentimes are getting bought out before they even leave the country. So
Do you ever work with the Diego Bermudez?
Diego Bermudez. That's interesting. We have not bought coffee from Diego Bermudez yet. He does an
Okay.
exceptional job.
Oh,
I mean, his
that's right.
his coffees his coffees are just he's just well known.
Yep.
He's phenomenal. Um, yeah, so maybe sometime in the future, but I also feel like it's very common to see a Diego Bermudez coffee now.
Yep. It
Everybody
is. Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of feel like I'm like, man, I like finding small little gems that maybe
Sure.
are not as popular, but they really stand out and are really exceptional. Um, so yeah, but also nothing against Diego Bermudez. Diego's a great producer. So
Okay, so I mean, if people goes to your website today, I know you got a lot of offerings there. So, what do you recommend for people just wants to try your coffee today? So, what's good coffee for you for my viewers? You got some few coffees there
oh
as well.
yeah, it's a great question. So if you're looking for something that's going to be really good for drip coffee and
Hmm.
espresso, that is going to taste it's just a good daily driver. The
Yep.
Jorge Mendes Guatemala is a
Yep.
great option. We've been buying
Okay.
coffee from that producer for the last, I think, 4 years,
Okay.
almost from when we started. And he does a really good job. It has a very consistent, nice flavor profile. It's gonna taste good. Yeah, it's a great coffee. If you're looking for something that's a little more exciting and a little more
Yep.
wild, experimental maybe. So the Wilder Lasso,
Yep. I
both
see that right now. Yep.
yeah,
With the lasso.
we have the Choroso from him, which we just
Yep.
released, and I'm drinking it right now. It
Okay.
is it is lovely. It's bright, it's zippy, it's I don't know, has lots of fruit on it with florals.
Yep.
It's a fun coffee. And then there's the Ethiopia Natural that we bought. It's
Yep.
very delicate, very fruit forward. It's like a big soft blanket of, fruits and florals. It's just very delicate and nice. So if you're into that, that's what I would recommend.
Perfect.
Um, and those coffees are more filter coffees.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, maybe coffees you want to enjoy without milk. But if you're looking for something more of a daily driver, the Jorge Mendes
All right.
Guatemala
Yeah.
is going to do a great job.
So I mean, Mark is $45, over $45. You got a free shipping. I mean, that's pretty reasonable, $45, because
Yeah.
the shipping cost is outrageous nowadays. So
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it's crazy. You just make sure you get a 3 bags. Okay, just make sure you get the
Yeah.
$45. I think
And
that's worth buying.
yeah, and if you can't buy 3 bags for $45 shipping for free shipping, we do a flat fee for our shipping. It's just $5.
Okay.
So if you buy 2 bags, you get $5 shipping, 1 bag, $5 shipping,
Oh,
uh, and then whatever else is the extra that cost us in
yep.
ship, we just eat it. We just take it on ourselves. Um, so and I think $5 is reasonable, shipping wise, but that's if you want to pick up 1 or 2 bags. But
Sure.
if you want to get as much coffee as possible with the free shipping, then that's a few bags and you're up in $45. So
Okay. I mean, make sure if you haven't tried Mark's coffee, highly recommend it, and they're fantastic. So I mean, I know we talk about you said next year for you guys is an exciting year for you. Hopefully,
mhm.
getting your own beautiful space. I mean, it'd be amazing. Okay.
Yeah,
And but
yeah,
I mean, for you, Mark,
What I drink? Yeah, I I I'm very much so a filter coffee fan.
Okay.
Espresso is good. I don't mind a cappuccino, a
Okay.
cortado, but man, filter coffee has my soul. So,
Okay.
uh,
So I mean, is there a memorable coffee this year, 2024? What is your memorable coffee you had?
oh, that's good. Honestly, I liked the Wilder Lasso Geisha,
Okay.
which
Okay.
I know we've had on our website, but also I know Prodigal had it on their
Okay.
website from
Okay.
Scott Rayo. September Coffee
Okay.
had that coffee. Um, and I tried Prodigal's Wilder
Yep.
Lasso Geisha. It was just a really, really nice coffee. Just like, man, everything that I want in a coffee,
Is
it
there?
was and it's there. So that made me really happy. So I drink a lot of our coffees, our
Yep.
roasts of it, and then I
Yep.
also had Prodigal's roasts of it that I
So
really.
so so is all sold out then?
Yes, I believe so. I think we may have one more bag left of
Okay.
it or
And that's
something.
it.
Yeah,
So I mean,
maybe.
don't you save your private batch for down the road? You have that. I know a lot of roasters do, but you do the same thing or save for the
No,
rainy days? No, you just
no,
get
no.
rid of it.
That geisha was the first time I was like, maybe I should just roast some and freeze it, and
Exactly
or
correct.
and then just have some ready just in case I want a
Sure,
little of
little
bliss.
something special.
Yeah. So good. What
Anyway,
are you drinking right now?
man. So because I've been drinking coffee from Presta. Okay, that's a local roaster,
Yes.
and Curacao hook me up, once in a while. And also
Okay.
I've been drinking Good Brothers coffee, and
Nice.
then some because I used to subscribe Say and Tim Winterbo,
Nice.
and then but not anymore because sometimes you are drinking a lot of wash coffee, you want to mix it up,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then so now I've been drinking a lot of natural processed coffee, fermentation coffee, but
Mhm.
now I'm starting to go back to something cleaner. Okay, so it's kind of like it's changed my mood. Okay,
Yeah.
it's
Of
all
course.
depend on the mood, but yeah, but again, but coffee is not a cheap hobby. All right.
Yes.
And because I mean a lot of people thinks that I get a lot of free coffee. Sometimes yes, but I mean if you want a high quality coffee, I mean there's no freebies. And that's something you have to pay for it. I bet you have to pay for Scott Rao's geisha. You know,
Yep. Yep.
they're not gonna send you for free. Hey, by
Yeah.
the way, so I mean one last question. Uh, a couple of months ago, we got Cup of Excellence, right? The Panama geisha sold for like what $15,000 per pound.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, how crazy is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
It's crazy.
I mean,
I have no words for it. I mean, I tried. Proud Mary had a best of Panama
okay,
ni- 94 points,
hmm,
or 96 points. It
okay,
was the Black Jaguar,
hmm,
uh, cost $2,000 a pound.
yep,
Um,
okay,
$150 for a cup of coffee
okay.
at their cafe. There was only like 24 cups in the United States of it, and yeah, I mean, the coffee was really, really good. It was tasty. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I can't even fathom a coffee that would cost more and what that even means. It's kind
I
of
know.
crazy. Hard to understand, and there's no really there's no really flavor that you can, I think, like there's no $15,000 flavor.
No, no, yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. I think that's more like, hey, I have it here,
Yes.
come see us, more like marketing ploy, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
I think there's some marketing, some storytelling behind
Yep,
it. I think it's to a certain extent it's beneficial to farmers and producers who can
sure.
compete and try
Yep,
and really put their heart and soul into these coffees. So I like that part about it, but don't, if you're listening and you're thinking, man, I just want to try it. If you're a hobbyist and you want to, I think it's a good idea to have that
Yep.
experience, but don't feel like you need to.
No, no. Hey, anyway, hey, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know you're a busy time, and
Yeah.
by the way, once you get the Aiden, let me know, okay? I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, we'll make sure to record a podcast episode.
Sounds
Uh,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, make sure check out the Mark's podcast. I have a Mark's website as well on my description section, so make sure check out his coffee, his podcast. All right, Mark.
Thank, thank
Talk to
you,
you
Hoon.
soon.
I appreciate you.
Okay. All
I
right.
appreciate having me. So, see ya.
Talk. Bye bye.